Hey, what's up guys? So in today's video I picked up another Mercury 50 outboard. So this is the 59 cubic inch engine, but I got a really good deal on this. You guys won't believe me how much I got this motor for, but if you guys been enjoying the videos, drop a like down below and subscribe. With that being said, you can see the lower unit is off of it, and so I bought this motor for $400, and you can see here he broke the top of the drive shaft off, and part of it is still stuck in the power head. So we're going to have to pull the power head and pull that out, be able to get it out. So under the power head, it's super clean. He didn't have much hours on this, and the guy bought a new engine because he wasn't going to spend the money to pull the power head. Try to get it out from a different dealer. So I'm surprised Hipro just brought it to us. We probably could have got it out for him, but we're going to get it out, and it's going to be located right up in here is where the drive shaft is broken, and basically like the coupler. But we're going to pull the power head to be able to get that out. Okay, so we got our picking ring to be able to pull the power head. We're going to remove the hots on the solenoid, the ground wire on the starter. There's going to be a ground wire here on the block that we're going to remove. Telltale hose we got to remove. The fuel line we got to disconnect. What else we got to do? There's going to be, underneath this lower cowling, we got to take it off. There's going to be 3 bolts on each side going up, so there's going to be 6 in total we'll have to pull out to be able to release the power head. I got to disconnect the trim wires located down here, and that's pretty much all we got to do. But basically, trim wires are down here. We'll have to pull that out, and then we'll be able to basically pull this power head. So we'll get right into that. Okay, so I'm going to see if you guys can see this, but basically right there is our broken drive shaft. And luckily it doesn't look like the splines are twisted out, so we're going to try to use a magnet and pull that right out of there.
It's right fucking there. There it is.
As you guys saw, I was able to get it out, so you see where it broke on the drive shaft, and luckily none of the splines twisted. A lot of times they'll twist and you're kind of screwed. What you'll have to do is drill a hole right down the middle and basically tap it with threads and pull it out that way. But luckily, I was able to just use my big heavy-duty snap-on magnet and basically just worked it out. So, but what we're gonna do next is basically go through this drive shaft, pull this out of the lower unit, and we're gonna be replacing it with one that I have already. First thing we're gonna do though is we're gonna drain out this gear lube, see what it looks like, and plus we don't want to be doing this with gear lube in it, so we're gonna drain out the gear lube. Actually, doesn't look too bad. Looks old, it's dark, but no water in it, which is good. So we're gonna let this drain out, and then we'll get right into basically how to pull the drive shaft out and pull the prop shaft out and how to do that, whole stuff like that. So just gonna let it drain out, and then we'll get right to it. So I got the service manual out just to kind of show you guys. So here's the prop shaft. This is what we're gonna be working with. So we got a prop shaft. There's gonna be a spring located on there. Then we got their clutch dog. And then there's gonna be another little spring, and then the actual pin up in the front. And that's gonna be the cam follower. And basically that we're just gonna make sure all this comes out together. But just to show you guys, just quick of how they do it in the service manual of how they pull it out and stuff. But we're gonna do it a little differently. So I got this tool to pull these carriers out. So basically you just twist this in onto the prop shaft and it starts pulling the carrier out. It's much better than trying to hammer it out the way they want you to do in the book. But basically, we're just going to sit here, twist it out, and you can see the carriers already coming out. And just like that, you can feel it break loose. We can take the tool off. And we can pull that carrier straight out, and the reverse gear is going to be stuck to the carrier. So you can see that, and then our reverse gear. Nothing looks damaged or anything, so that's good. You can just pull the prop shaft right out. You can see here we got our clutch dog and our cam follower. What we got to do then is get that nut out right at top of the top gear. That pinion gear is all got to come out to be able to pull the drive shaft out. In order to get to that, we got to take out the water pump housing and the water pump to get to it. Our water pump's got a decent set on it, and then we got also our woodruff key.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so that nut right there in my middle finger is what we have to get out to be able to drop the pinion gear, and to be able to pull out the drive shaft is going to be on that nut. And we're going to do that by holding this still with channel locks because we don't really care about this drive shaft, but we're going to do it at the base of the woodruff key.
You're good.
So this is what our nut's going to look like. That basically holds the pinion gear. That's how you pull out the drive shaft. And you see back bottom here is the threads where that nut was on. And we're going to be reusing a lot of this stuff, mainly just to seal. Okay, so here's going to be the new drive shaft, or at least new to this motor. It's the used one I had, but the splines are good. And the bearing is still good on it, so that's good. But basically the spring is going to be located on there. We're going to have to really mess with that, but we're going to basically put this back in there. But what we have to do is take the old, I guess it's basically a seal. So that's going to slide over just like that, basically all the way down past the woodruff key where it sits. So it's going to sit just like that, right below that first bearing. This bearing, which is in the lower unit, is going to basically slide over just like this, and then the pinion gear is going to slide around to those grooves, and then the nut, and that's basically how the drive shaft goes back in. So we're going to get this all back together and get it back into the lower unit. Okay, so we're going to stick the drive shaft just partially in. We're not going to put all the way in because we still got to get the bearing and the pinion gear on it. We got to stick our hands to the lower, so we just want to get this basically seated just a little bit, and that'll be basically it. We're not going to push it all the way in just yet. So just right about there, we're gonna leave it. What we gotta get then is this bearing. It's gotta go up, basically where the drive shaft is. It's like a little recess area, and then this pinion gear, it's gonna slide. It's got little cutout grooves. It's gonna slide up just like this, and then the nut, it's gonna be right at the bottom of the drive shaft, and we're gonna lock that down to the pinion gear. And just so you know too, there is like a little recess spot. That's the spot that you want to have facing up. So that little like recess is gonna be facing up. If I also didn't say it, you also kind of need kind of small hands to be able to get your hand up in there. So just be ready for that. So we got the bearing in. Now we gotta get the pinion gear in. So basically what I'm gonna do, so the pinion gear's gotta go up. We're gonna basically just put it in, and then we're gonna also push down on the drive shaft until we get it to line up on the splines. It can be a little tricky, but you'll feel it drop in, and it should lock in place because the gear is gonna be stuck there. To get it in, you want to be able to see it just like this. So that pinion gear is right there. I don't have the nut on it just yet. We want that pinion gear to basically line up with the forward gear right there. So you should be able to just spin it a little bit and see that it is working. So all we got to do now is stick the nut on there and torque it down. And that's basically all we have to do for that part of the drive shaft. Okay, so we got it in. I just started it with my hands on the nut. So the nut is in, but we can move the forward gear now and spin the drive shaft, and we can see that that forward gear is moving. So what we got to do now is torque that down to 50 foot-pounds, and also put Loctite on those threads before you do that. So we can see here in the service manual, just wanted to show you guys, right from the dealer book. So that pinion nut, we're going to torque it down to 50 foot-pounds, and they also want some Loctite on those threads. So 50 foot-pounds, and then we're good to go. Once you got everything connected, we're going to do a manual shift and just see if everything is working properly. So basically, right now, if I shift it into neutral, right there, you can see the prop shaft isn't moving. So we know we are in neutral, and we can also just basically just spin the prop shaft. See, we're in neutral. Now we're going to spin the prop, shift it into reverse. So you're locked in the reverse. Spin it clockwise, should be spinning into reverse, and it locks in too with the prop. Go back, oh, jumped up to forward, but there's neutral again. Again, the prop shaft is able to move freely. And we go to forward. You spin the drive shaft clockwise, you should see the prop spinning, and it should lock in when you're holding the drive shaft still. You can see here, it is working. So what we're going to do now is put some gear lube in it, and then we'll put it back up in the engine and do water pump. So we were missing a washer for the top part, so that's the part number there. It's just a washer that basically sits on top of the water pump, but we need that, or else it'll basically scar up the housing and stuff over time. Don't forget to put some grease on your splines, on your drive shaft, just so it doesn't seize up there, and it also slides in easier when you go to reinstall. And then we're also going to put a little bit on the threads for the shifter, again, just to help with any corrosion and stuff like that happening over time. Now the lower unit's all done, what we're going to do is get the power head ready to go back on the midsection, and then we'll do like a fuel filter and stuff like that. We're not going to do carbs on it because I think it'll run fine. We'll also change out the spark plugs and do compression test on it. But basically that's all we have to really do because this guy told me it does run perfectly fine, so we'll see if it runs fine. But I already did clean up the power head gasket right here. We got all nice that clean metal ready for that to go on. So the new base gasket will go on here. And then what we're going to also do is basically set it on here. But what I want to do first is going to be basically to clean up any of this stuff that's basically sitting here. You guys can see there's a lot of junk and whatnot. So we'll clean this all out and make it look brand new. Get all that nasty grime out of there. Some of this engine degreaser on here from Exalgo. Just basically spray this whole bottom cowling. Get all that nasty dirt and grime out, and then we'll basically use a hose and spray it all out and stuff like that. So we got our new base gasket right here. It's going to be the part number for it. I'll have it down in the link description for you guys. So this is what basically your new base gasket is going to look like. So we can get it on there.
Yeah, I can get those. Come up a little bit. Right there. Okay, it just sat in. There it goes.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is stick the 6 bolts back in. These bolts right here, we'll run them into the power head and torque them down them. And then all we got to do is re-hook up everything that we disconnected. All we got to do now is basically get the lower unit back in and installed, and then we'll do a compression test on the motor just to make sure everything's good.
Clicking transferring power because it had power to click.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is check shifting again. So right now we're in neutral. We shift the engine into forward. Feel locks there. Locks the prop shaft into forward. Go back to neutral. We're in neutral. Spin the prop shaft at the same time. And now we're locked into reverse. And then we can go right back to neutral. And we have good neutral. What we're going to do now is pull all the spark plugs out. And we're going to check out compression on this motor. And just make sure the compression is up to speed. So cylinder number 1, we're just shy of 120, like 118-ish. Cylinder number 2, looks like we're about like 115-ish. Cylinder number 3 looks like our best cylinder. Looks like we got about 120 on that one. We're just going to check spark now. We just want to see good even spark between all 3 of these. As you guys can see, we have really good spark, so that's a good thing. With good compression, good spark, good healthy power head. Okay, so we're just going to throw in 3 new spark plugs, so BPZ8HN-10s. We're going to throw 3 of these in there, and then we'll just change out the fuel filter and run the engine. Good thing we're replacing it because it's got a good bend to it. Okay, so we got our new fuel filter. Just want to make sure that arrow is facing towards the carb so it's flowing the correct way. Okay, so we're going to fire up for the first time with no adjustments at all, and we're going to see what it does. So let's hook up some water, and let's fire up this thing. That means that sinking link is off, so we gotta do sinking links. So basically this top screw and this bottom screw, we're gonna break loose and readjust and do sinking link. So what I noticed is the engine sounded really fast, and you saw when I moved this arm back, it sounded better. There's supposed to be a bolt with a nut on here, and it's missing. So here's the screw with the nut. It's basically going to thread in there. It's going to help with the timing of the motor, because it's supposed to be pulled out pretty far. So we're going to redo base timing then, and make sure that's all good, because somebody's definitely monkeyed with this before, and they were missing a bunch of stuff that, you know, is pretty critical on these motors. So we're going to thread this in to a relatively good spot, and then we're going to get out the timing light and do base timing on it. But you can see this arm moving back already. So that arm basically controls the timing and how fast the spark is happening. So that needs to be, it's a pretty critical thing to make sure that's all good, or else your motor will run weird. Motor sounds much better now that the timing is supposed to be where it's at. And we had to make a couple adjustments. Oop. That up quick. But that sounds pretty good right where it's at now. So on my timing light, just divide it by 2, so we're idling right around about 700-800 RPMs, which is pretty good. We can probably go a little higher when it's on a boat, but the whole adjustment will be this screw, and then this one. So you just gotta mess with it until you find where it wants to be at. We're gonna fire up one more time. It's actually a pretty cold day today. It's about 50 degrees out, so we're gonna see how this thing runs now. It don't sound too bad. Like I said, it's really cold out today. So once it warms up a little bit, the engine warms up, it'll run a little, sound a little nicer, but it actually sounds pretty good right here. But I did detail it. It looks pretty good. But we're gonna let this thing run for a little bit. But I think it sounds pretty good for what it is. See how it restarts. Starts up really nicely, but try one more time. Like I said, we're gonna let this thing run for a little bit, and pretty much that'll be the end of this video. It sounds pretty dang good right now. So that is gonna be the end of the video. The motor turned out looking really good. It almost looks brand new. But this is just something you guys can do on the side. I mean, it's really easy money. Like I said, I bought this thing for 400 bucks. I already have a buyer who's gone on his way. He wants to buy it for $2,500. So it's an easy payday for me. The motor turned out looking really good. We'll also rig the boat motor on for the guy, so that's another bonus that we can do at my shop, is we can rig it for him. But if you guys have been enjoying the videos, please smash the like button down below, subscribe, and I'll keep bringing out more content for you guys in the future. And that'll be the end of this video.